Behind closed doors in professional tennis, one of the most shocking punishments ever handed down has just rewritten history. A former Grand Slam champion, Jeļena Ostapenko, has been hit with a lifetime ban. And what's making headlines isn't just the decision, it's how the biggest stars in the sport are reacting. From Naomi Osaka's chilling press conference to Rafael Nadal's rare public statement, the tennis world is on fire. This isn't just about one player. It's about the future of the game. Naomi Osaka's viral reaction. When news of Ostapenko's lifetime ban reached the public, it immediately became the most discussed story in tennis. But what transformed it from a headline into a global conversation was Naomi Osaka's response. The former world number one, who is known for choosing her words carefully and avoiding unnecessary drama, stepped into the spotlight with a reaction that quickly dominated social media. What struck people most was her composure. Rather than delivering a fiery rant, Osaka spoke with calm precision, outlining why the incident with Taylor Townsend carried a weight that went beyond ordinary on-court disputes. She framed the outburst not simply as a matter of poor sportsmanship, but as a reflection of deeper issues within the sport, issues of race, respect, and accountability. Her statement spread rapidly because of the credibility she carries. Osaka has built her reputation not just as a champion, but as an athlete who has consistently pushed for change in tennis, particularly when it comes to mental health and equality. She does not speak on every controversy, which makes the moments when she does choose to speak resonate even more strongly. The video of her reactions circulated across platforms, gathering millions of views within hours. Fans praised her for saying what many felt had long been ignored. Journalists dissected her tone and delivery, noting how her careful words cut through the noise and forced the conversation to shift. And importantly, her stance encouraged other players to voice their own thoughts, creating a wave of statements that otherwise might not have surfaced. In many ways, Osaka's reaction set the tone for how the world view Ostapenko's punishment. It transformed the ban from a disciplinary measure into a cultural moment, one that forced both players and fans to reconsider what behavior should be tolerated in a sport that prides itself on dignity and respect. The lifetime ban announcement. The announcement of a lifetime ban sent shockwaves through the entire sporting world. Tennis has always prided itself on discipline, etiquette, and strict codes of conduct. But very rarely has a player faced the ultimate punishment of being removed from the professional tour forever. This was not a short suspension, not a fine, not even a year-long exile. It was a definitive ending. The Women's Tennis Association released its ruling with striking clarity. Officials outlined that Ostapenko's behavior was not an isolated incident, but rather part of a long and troubling pattern. Incidents that had previously been whispered about behind closed doors were now confirmed. Conflicts with opponents, disrespect toward officials, inappropriate conduct with fans and tournament staff. The confrontation with Taylor Townsend was described as the breaking point, not the sole cause. For fans and analysts, the decision felt almost unthinkable. Ostapenko was once celebrated as a Grand Slam champion, someone who had shown the potential to dominate the sport. To see her career effectively erased overnight was a reminder of how far she had fallen from those early triumphs. The words lifetime ban carried a weight that no one could ignore. The news spread quickly across sports media. Commentators described it as unprecedented. Headlines framed it as one of the most severe punishments in tennis history. Social media platforms filled with debates, with some insisting it was the only way to preserve the integrity of the game, while others questioned whether the punishment was too severe for words spoken in frustration. Yet what stood out more than the noise was the silence. Tournament directors, sponsors, and former colleagues hesitated to comment publicly, unwilling to place themselves on one side of such a decisive moment. That silence only reinforced how monumental the ruling was. The ban was not simply about one athlete's behavior. It was a message to the entire sport. Certain lines cannot be crossed, and when they are, no level of talent or past success will shield a player from the consequences. The Taylor Townsend incident. Every controversy has a defining moment. The instant when simmering tensions erupt into something that can no longer be ignored. For Ostapenko, that moment came during her match against Taylor Townsend at the US Open. The match itself was straightforward. Townsend played with discipline, absorbed pressure, and closed it out in straight sets. The result should have been a routine victory, but the post-match scene shifted the focus entirely. Instead of a handshake and a respectful exchange, Ostapenko confronted her opponent in full view of cameras and spectators. Her words, sharp and dismissive, targeted Townsend's character rather than the quality of her tennis. What might have been dismissed as heated frustration took on a far heavier meaning because of who Townsend is. She is not only an accomplished athlete, but also a highly educated woman who has long advocated for greater inclusivity in tennis. The suggestion that she lacked class or intelligence landed with an intensity that reached far beyond the boundaries of sport. For many, it tapped into a painful history of coded insults directed at black athletes, particularly in predominantly white spaces. Townsend's response in the aftermath showed a level of composure that stood in stark contrast to the chaos around her. She remained calm, addressed the incident without aggression, and acknowledged the broader implications of the exchange without escalating them. That balance between dignity and honesty made Ostapenko's outburst appear even more reckless. The footage of the moment circulated widely. Clips spread across social media platforms within hours, sparking outrage and debate. For fans, this was not just about a single match or an ill-chosen comment. It became the latest entry in a growing record of behavior that painted Ostapenko as someone unwilling to control her emotions when faced with adversity. The Towns incident ultimately became the symbol of her decline. It represented the culmination of years of warnings, arguments, and smaller controversies. And because it happened under the spotlight of one of tennis's biggest stages, it forced governing bodies to take decisive action. Tennis world reactions. The fallout from the lifetime ban was immediate, and the tennis world responded with an intensity rarely seen in the sport. What made this moment extraordinary was not only the ruling itself, but the way it compelled some of the game's biggest names to break their usual silence. Naomi Osaka's reaction had already set the stage. Her words carried such influence that they opened the door for other players to speak without hesitation. Soon after, Rafael Nadal, a figure known for his restraint and professionalism, voiced his disapproval of Ostapenko's conduct and his support for decisive action. For an athlete who typically avoids public commentary on controversy, his involvement underscored the seriousness of the situation. Novak Djokovic followed with his own perspective, framing the issue around the values of the sport itself. His emphasis on respect as the foundation of tennis resonated widely, and for once he and Nadal appeared aligned off the court. The alignment of two of the sport's greatest rivals on this matter gave the ban a new layer of legitimacy in the eyes of fans and analysts. Other responses revealed divisions within the tennis community. Rising star Coco Gauff expressed concern about the severity of the punishment, suggesting that growth and change should be possible even after serious mistakes. Her comments sparked heated discussion, with some applauding her compassion while others criticized her for downplaying the gravity of the behavior. Venus Williams, however, offered a much firmer perspective. Having experienced discrimination throughout her career, she made it clear that consequences were overdue and necessary. Aryna Sabalenka, the current world number 1, presented yet another angle. She attempted to frame Ostapenko's behavior as the product of personal struggles rather than malice. While sympathetic in tone, her stance was viewed by many as an attempt to excuse rather than confront the deeper problem. Broader implications for tennis. The decision to remove Ostapenko from the sport carried consequences that extended far beyond her own career. It forced tennis to confront questions that had long been avoided about accountability, culture, and the standards expected of professional athletes. For years, moments of poor sportsmanship were brushed aside as heat lapses, part of the competitive nature of the game. Outbursts at umpires, arguments with officials, and disrespect toward opponents were often forgiven as long as a player continued to perform on court. The Towns incident, and the subsequent ban, exposed how damaging this tolerance could be when left unchecked. At its heart, the controversy highlighted the fragile balance between tradition and progress in tennis. The sport is built on a reputation of elegance and respect. Yet, it has also struggled with inequality, both racial and gender-based, throughout its history. Ostapenko's behavior reopened those wounds, reminding fans and players alike that the culture of silence and excusem only perpetuates the problem. The reaction from the tennis community also underscored a generational divide. Younger players like Coco Gauff spoke cautiously about forgiveness and the possibility of change, reflecting a perspective shaped by optimism and growth. Veterans, including Venus Williams, emphasized the necessity of consequences, shaped by decades of lived experience within a system that often failed to protect marginalized athletes. Beyond the players, fans and media voices recognized the significance of this moment. It was no longer possible to separate the game from the values it claimed to uphold. Sponsors, tournament organizers, and governing bodies would now be judged not only on how they promoted the sport, but on how they responded to issues of discrimination and respect. By imposing a lifetime ban, the WTA effectively declared that behavior undermining the principles of fairness and inclusivity could not coexist with the global image tennis wished to project. Whether viewed as harsh or justified, the ruling became a turning point. It was no longer just about Ostapenko's conduct. It became a test of whether tennis was truly willing to evolve into a sport where accountability outweighed talent. The future of the sport. While the headlines focused on Ostapenko's downfall, the broader story became about where tennis goes from here. The lifetime ban marked the end of one career, but it also symbolized a new beginning for how the sport defines its values and its future. The timing of the decision intersected with a generational shift already underway. Icons like Rafael Nadal are nearing retirement. Novak Djokovic is entering the final stages of his career, and Roger Federer has already stepped away. A younger wave players like Carlos Alcaraz, Yannick Sinner, Coco Gauff, and Ben Shelton is stepping into the spotlight, bringing with them a different attitude toward respect, sportsmanship, and responsibility. Their rise coincides with a moment when tennis desperately needs to prove it is more than tradition and trophies, that it is also a platform for fairness and integrity. The contrast between what unfolded with Ostapenko and the way other players have carried themselves was striking. Matches that showcased Nadal's humility and defeat or the composure of emerging champions reminded fans of the ideals tennis aspires to. These images stood in sharp relief against the negativity of public confrontations and disrespect. They demonstrated that success and respect are not mutually exclusive but can coexist as the true foundation of greatness. The conversation sparked by the ban also widened beyond tennis. Other sports began referencing the ruling as an example of decisive action against discriminatory behavior. Commentators in basketball, football, and athletics questioned whether their own governing bodies would ever act with such resolve. In this way, the ban became a benchmark not just for tennis, but for professional sport in general. For fans, the message was clear. The game must hold its players to the same standards it expects of itself. As the new generation steps forward, they inherit not only the challenge of winning titles, but of restoring the culture of respect that makes the sport unique. The Ostapenko saga will likely be remembered as one of the darkest chapters in modern tennis. But if its outcome leads to a stronger, more accountable future, then it may also serve as a turning point that redefines what it means to be a champion.